Okay, hi. I'm back already. Just kidding about that thing I said at the beginning of the last episode, episode 169, when I said I didn't know if we were going to interview Sarah Corkery after all, because, well, that's what you're about to hear. It was hard to kind of nail this down, but we managed to find a window and everything aligned, and we did, in fact, Gavin Aronson and I did get to interview the Democrat for Iowa's 2nd District congressional race, Sarah Corkery. And this did get cut short, so it's not quite an hour. I don't have anything else recorded to stitch it together with to make it come in at over an hour. But I do want to get this out on the feed before Sarah's debate with Ashley Hinson, which is the night of October 14th. So I'm not giving this its own number. This is going to be episode 169 and a half. And we're going to dispense with I'm not going to play any intro music. I'm not going to play any outro music. This is just going to be a quick and dirty intro, and then you're going to hear the interview, and that's it. So, yeah, okay, here it is. Thanks, bye. All right, we are on the record. This is Rock Hard Caucus. My name's Justin. I'm here with Gavin again. Thanks for joining as a guest co-host, Gavin. Another one of these.
Yep.
We are speaking with the Democratic candidate for Iowa's 2nd Congressional District, U.S. House, another candidate for United States House of Representatives, Sarah Corkery. How are you, Sarah?
I'm doing great. What do we have, like 23, 24 days left? We're getting down there.
Yeah, it's not a lot of days. You would know the exact count better than me, I think. Thank you for joining us, giving us some of your time in is this like the busiest time ever of your life, would you say?
No, it's actually going pretty fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right?
This is your first time you ever running for office, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And I guess, a question along that line, why now and why you? Why are you running for office now?
You bet. We talk about our families had setbacks, and we've used those and turned them into setups. So I'll say it briefly. I've had breast cancer twice. And after that, we went to DC and lobbied Ashley Hinson to sign a bill called the Metastatic Breast Cancer Access to Care Act. And she refused to sign it. So we made videos of her constituents. We did a pretty hard press, and she still wouldn't sign it. She was the only Iowan on the federal delegation in the House that wouldn't sign it. And she came down to saying if she signed it, she thought that by helping breast cancer folks, she'd have to open herself up to helping other people with cancer, and that would be too expensive. Well, at least she told the truth, but I didn't like her answer. So that's one reason we're running for Congress against her. Our second setback, we have a child with a disability. He's legally blind and had seizures. So we built $1 million playground with another family that were Trump Republicans here in Cedar Falls. Mm-hmm. It's a playground built for kids that have disabilities and those that don't. It's really fun. It's called Place to Play Park in Cedar Falls. And then third, unfortunately, I lost my sister. She died at 48. My mom died at 46. And I turned 47. So I just had my 49th birthday this last week, though. But that will shake you up. And really what we did is reevaluated our life. We made a literal list of our values and how we wanted to spend the rest of our days in case we are on borrowed time. Mm-hmm. And I decided to quit my corporate job. So I had a really great job at Viridian Credit Union. I was the vice president of marketing. But we decided it was time to do something else. And we have our own small business. And then I heard no one was willing to run against Ashley Hinson, that this was going to go with no opponent. And I said, I'll give it a go if no one else will do it. And here we are.
Well, I always respect somebody for quitting their job. That's one of the best things you can do in life is to quit a job. So I commend you for that.
Thank you. It was a hard thing, but it was the best thing. It was very hard. I had to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. I said, I don't quit. And they said, you're not quitting. You're moving on to your next thing. So that's how we do see it.
Yeah, it's like a metamorphosis. You're becoming a butterfly or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry if I look distracted. My cat is trying to jump on my TV. Monitor.
Yeah, we have four cats. I love cats.
I got one right over here too. So we're surrounded by cats as we have this conversation. So with Ashley Hinson, you said nobody was willing to put their hat in the ring, run against Ashley Hinson. The Iowa Democratic Party, the National Democratic Party seems to be completely hands off in your race. Yep. What is it that makes Ashley Hinson invincible?
Oh,
Like,
she's
what?
not. We're taking her down. We get a live debate Monday night at 8 p.m. and it's going to be entertaining. So the thing is, no one wanted to run because everyone really thought Liz Mathis would win. She's well known. She was also on the television. She'd earned her time in the state legislature. And what happened was she ran the wrong year. She ran in a year that we were downtrodden as Democrats. Over 250,000 registered Democrats in Iowa stayed home. That's the truth. Liz Mathis lost by 26,000 votes. If a fraction of those people had showed up, she would have. Now, Liz was the top of the ticket. Not truly, because we had Deidre DeGear and Admiral Franken, who are excellent candidates. But I don't believe Democrats had a lot of faith in those two candidates. So Liz did the heavy lift and came up short. And she raised $4 million. And when I decided to do this, I was encouraged by her husband, Mark Mathis. And he just said, Sarah, do it your own way. Don't listen to the party. So bad news, the party is not helping us. And they said that on day one. They said, we are targeting the 1st and 3rd district this time. The 2nd district will receive no money and no aid, no matter who runs. So I say that because they didn't trick us. You know, we knew what we were getting into. But I say the bad news is the Democratic Party didn't help us. And the good news is the Democratic Party didn't help us. We've done this entirely on our own messaging, our own ads, our own Facebook, our own everything. And nobody is handling me. No one is telling me what to say. So this is what people love. I say I'm an authentic truth teller. I am new to politics, but I know a lot because I've been behind the scenes for a long time. And people love a refreshed new perspective. And we've been talking about our values for a year. And the number one value I set for this campaign, authenticity. I need to be my authentic self 100%. And I hope everyone around me feels like they can be their authentic self. Because I've worked in jobs where you could be yourself. And that's not a lot of fun. And the second value, joy. I said it a year ago. If we're doing this for free, no one's paying us for a year, we're going to make it fun, right? Everywhere we go, we're just having fun. Throw some pizza and beer. Let's get those college kids in because that people are drawn to joy, right? They are drawn to people that are having a good time. And we talk serious about the issues. And we also want to have fun. So one fun thing we do, the t-shirts that people have for their campaigns are very expensive because they're union made and beautiful. They cost about $20 each. Well, I'm super thrifty. I quit my corporate job. So at the thrift shop I go to, t-shirts are $1 on Mondays and Thursdays. So we did all upcycled shirts, you know, whether it's a Hawkeye shirt, a tie-dyed shirt, and we bought a cricket. We put Corkery for Congress over top. Every shirt we upcycle instead of making new saves us 700 gallons of water and $20. So it's cheap. And people love it. I think more politicians should do this. Reuse other people's stuff. You know, you don't have to just keep making stuff new. So we've just really thought out of the box. And a lot of people are drawn to the new ideas we've brought forward.
The way you describe your campaign, that sounds kind of similar to Ryan Melton in terms of kind of being left to your own devices, I guess.
Yep.
He had some thoughts about communications with the DCCC, but you don't seem to have any issues with that. I noticed that they typically rank the other 2 districts, 1 and 3, I believe, on those Cook political reports.
Yep. And here's the truth. We would be on those same reports if we had fundraised and raised $4 million. But because we didn't, we raised $400,000. That's the only reason they're not flipping my seat on that chart. And guess what? Ashley hasn't spent any dollars on this campaign yet. So who cares that she raised $4 million? She's not spending it. People don't vote based off who raised the most money. That's not how people vote. And the Des Moines Register put our poll, they said Sarah Corkery is holding Democrats just as strongly as Lanaan Bakama is holding in Des Moines. We're the same, even though we've gotten none of the money and none of the help. So this is anybody's game.
People don't vote based on hearing which candidate has raised the most money, of course, but they do hear about the candidates because of the money that they spend. So, you know, you don't have the money to spend on TV ads, for example.
Yeah,
so,
no, we're starting TV ads on Monday.
Oh, you are? Okay, great.
Yep. And I have a copy of Ashley's ad schedule. I have a copy of her ad schedule, too. So she's going to run 2 ads for every one I run, but we're not out of the race. She could have dropped $1 million. She's dropping, I think, $150,000. And where we dropped, and we dropped $100,000. So that's within reach.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because I really want to watch ads from you and from Ashley Hinson, and so that. Where do you live? I live in Iowa City, so I'm not in your district, but I.
Sure. Well, KCRG. Turn on KCRG. You're going to see my ads.
Okay. Yeah, I've been collecting all of the campaign ads this year, so you'll be joining the collection.
Good.
Okay, you mentioned union T-shirts, and you have. I'm not going to accuse you of scabbing, but you are not. You are recycling T-shirts instead because it's a lot less expensive. And that just reminded me that
we're not taking anybody's job. Just so you know, that's why we haven't had any problems.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Me having volunteers put Corkery for Congress with a cricket on a shirt is not taking anybody's job.
Right. But that did remind me that there is a labor strike going on in your district that just started recently. Yeah, at the Cargill plant. So have you, what is your relationship to organized labor?
Yeah, we are endorsed by the AFL-CIO. I went out on the picket line with those guys. They were out there striking, and I was out there within 5 hours to tell them our support, tell them we're with them. These guys, there's about 6 or 7 of them that were there that night, have said that so many people have left the positions and they just continue to absorb more work with no pay increase. And they're like the lowest paid people in this plant, and they need them. So they said they're going to stand out there till they get their raise, and that's tough. They're not getting very much money to live on while they're doing this, but it's the right thing to do. So we stood with them. Literally, we stand with them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is unrelated to the labor question, but I know that there's an independent candidate in your race as well, Jody Puffett. Have you met her? Do you know anything about her?
Yep. I called her the day she entered the race, and we had a nice chat. So Jody Puffett is a lifelong Republican who didn't primary Ashley because when she was most mad at Ashley was when Ashley voted yes to send money to Ukraine to defend itself against Putin. That was Jody's last straw because she thinks we should solve all of our problems here in America before we go around helping our allies. So she's more of a Republican. She's not taking votes from me. Now, this is what we like. I put it in the Cedar Rapids Gazette. If Jody Puffett takes 5% away from Ashley Hinson, we win.
It's interesting that you put that in the paper, like you said that out loud in public, because sometimes
I'm a truth teller. I don't care. Yeah. It's not a big what a big secret. No, everybody knows it. So I'm just going to say it. And I hope she does get 5%. I think I should start promoting her ads. And I don't know, did you hear this? I heard Ashley raised $4 million because she wants to run for governor. I actually got a memo leaked.
Really?
So if you go to hinsonforgovernor.com, Sarah Corkery bought that URL.
I saw this.
Sarah Corkery, we made a website for her and we put a press release out. We said, this is from Sarah Corkery. You're welcome.
Well, that's, have you actually had any contact with Ashley, prior to this?
She's iced us out. She's not said my name in 9 months, but Monday night she's going to be sitting at a desk right next to me live on Iowa Public Television. And it's going to be hard for her to pretend I'm not there when I'm sitting right next to her.
Yeah. It sounds like you're looking forward to this.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. Yes. I've been practicing and I'm very excited about it.
Okay.
You seem pretty optimistic about your campaign too, so you're not feeling any of this anxiety over like the top of the ticket that is in the news now that Democrats are supposedly fretting about.
What? No, tell me more about that. No, we're not fretting at all over here.
Oh, just it's just talk about like Kamala Harris, whether or not she is doing enough to secure votes, to get it past the finish line at the end here.
Mm-hmm. And I would tell you as a candidate, I get that all the time. Oh, you should do this, this, this. And I say, you know what? You run for office if you got all those ideas. We're out here doing the hard work and there's only one of us. So if you support Kamala, you get out and do some work. She's doing all the work she can right now. She's probably exhausted, right?
I would imagine so.
If you don't mind me asking, like a bit of a behind the scenes thing, you've been practicing for the debate. What does your debate prep look like? What have you been working on?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's so important to get the details correct because there is so much misinformation out there. Lies about eating cats and dogs and that there's no FEMA money and all this. So this is how serious I take it. So I have a really good friend who's an OBGYN physician who started a healthcare PAC to ensure women have access to abortion and care that their doctors deem appropriate. So I spent 2 hours visiting her to talk about like nuanced stuff. Like I was 38 weeks pregnant and my son almost died. How does he come out? Is that an abortion? right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these things so that we can talk about it clearly. I met with someone from economic development. I met with a farmer for 6 hours. I met with a marketing person who I really admire. And you know what? The biggest practice has been, I stopped doing call time in July. And that's a big no-no for a federal candidate. That's how you raise money.
Right.
And Liz Mathis did 8 hours a day of this. And I did it and I quit. And then guess what? I had my strongest quarter ever. I started just leaning into my strengths, which is speaking to people, connecting with Iowans, doing direct mail, and fundraising online. And we raised $175,000 this last quarter. It was our strongest quarter yet. So that is shocking, because if a real Iowan gets in by raising less than $500,000 with no party support, we can bust the system open and get more real people to give it a shot. And that's really my end game. Let's get more people in it, because it's rigged. It's rigged. Rich people have so much better chance at this than regular people, but it shouldn't be rigged. More people should be able to really get in and do it. And I'm actually a moderate Democrat. I don't think college should be free. I think we should lower the interest rate down to 0 or 1%. I think people have a lot for themselves to be personally accountable for. Like one time somebody, I'm so mad I walk through the park every day and there's garbage. Why doesn't the government pick up that garbage? And here's me. You walk through every day? Every day? Take a garbage bag with you, sir.
Sure.
So Republicans like me. When I was at my last job, I had millions of dollars in my budget, and I underspent it by $1 million the last 2 years. And that doesn't happen in marketing. People just spend it to zero because they can. Well, we didn't need to. We didn't need to. And so Republicans like me too, because I'm frugal. I grew up poor. I had a secondhand prom dress every year and did my own hair in the bathroom with curlers. But you know what? Nobody knew. Right?
Let me go back to one of the first things you said there about your moderate positions. Why should college not be free?
Because it's a choice, right? There's 2-year choice options. There's trade schools. There's 4-year options. There's private versus public. People have all kinds of options, and they need to find the best fit for themselves. I knew I wanted to go into communication and marketing. I knew I either wanted to be a broadcast journalist or do PR. So I picked Wartburg College because I got a scholarship there, and I knew when I graduated, I'd have $12,000 in debt. This was 1998, so it would be different today. But yeah. I went in with my eyes wide open. And I think some people just go to college and they just take out so much debt, and there's a documentary I like called Broke, Busted, and Disgusted. And it talks about how we set up college kids to take out a bunch of loans saying education is the way forward. And that's how you win. It's true, but you got to be financially responsible as well. So that's why I don't think it should be free. I'm proud I paid for my college. I'm proud my grandpa threw in money. My dad threw in money. I threw in money. I had a scholarship. I had a loan. You know, that some people have pride in that, and I do. So I just don't think it should be free. And I don't think it should be bankrupted, because people will take advantage of that. And not everybody needs to go to college or wants to go to college.
Sure. On that same subject, when Joe Biden was running for president in 2020, there were some, is it fair to call them promises? Some promises made to forgive a lot of student debt. And that has been very complicated since those attempts were first made. Do you agree that should have even been a proposal in the first place? To what was it, 10,000? Was that the original plan?
Yeah,
forgive 10,000 of everyone's debt.
Yeah, obviously that didn't happen. He did something. He did forgive some loans, but I was at someone's house, and she was about my age, and she said, "Guess what? I went on vacation and I came back and I had a $4,000 check to help pay off my student loan. I didn't know it was coming. That's sure nice." Well, she didn't even know it was coming. I mean, it's like a PPP. It's just given out here and there. And it was such a small amount. I looked up how much he gave in debt relief versus how much student loan debt there is. It was a drop in the bucket. It was a drop in the bucket. So it was just doing it maybe for political purposes or because he did promise it, but it was not effective. So I wouldn't have done it.
I'm curious how that even happened. Like, she didn't apply for it; it just showed up.
Yeah, no, that's true. It seemed like the PPP money, right? But I'm like, how did they even communicate or choose the people that got the free money? I don't know, but it didn't seem like it was a well thought out plan.
Yeah,
the courts haven't helped at all. My student loans are held up in forbearance again now with the SAVE plan, since it's all these Republican judges are going at what little there is for student loan relief. Mm-hmm. It's not a question, but just
right. No, but we got to help people dig up. Well, student loans should not be 6 and 7%. That's the equivalent of a home equity loan or even a home loan right now. Like it should be 0 or 1%. This shouldn't be a profit center for anybody getting rich off student loans. It should be done better. Help people dig out. Because if you're just paying on interest, as we all know, that's not going to work long term.
Mm-hmm. Gavin, you mentioned the Republican judges. We've got a somewhat high profile retention vote. I guess it's only a couple weeks away now, but Judge David May is up for a retention vote this year, and he was one of the justices responsible for allowing the 6-week abortion ban to become law. And there's been some disagreement among people who write opinion columns in the Des Moines Register as to whether it is appropriate for people to vote against Justice David May's retention on the Iowa Supreme Court because of his role in that abortion ruling. Sarah, where do you come down on that?
Of course we should vote on it. Of course he needs to go. I mean, obviously, he needs to go. They did this after gay marriage too, right? It passed, and then they didn't write the law. They interpreted it. And it was interpreted that gay marriage was legal, right? And then what did we do? Republicans voted all those people out. That's how this works.
Yeah, that's the argument they're making against this, the Des Moines Register editorial board, right? Because, well, actually, I didn't read that specific editorial, I guess, but just that Bob Vanderplat set up a bad precedent with that initially, which I don't really agree with, but I mean,
it cuts. All I'm saying is it cuts both ways, though. If they did it, then we do it. Whoever has the power and control, that's the idea of it. And Kim has way too much power and control. We've seen how that has worked out. That's why we need more balance in this state. This state is purple. It's not red. We lost a lot of votes by 1% and 2% this last round. We lost those even though 250,000 Democrats stayed home. Well, we are fired up this round. There will be a lot more people voting this time. And I believe more Democrats will get out and vote. And I think Republicans might stay home this time. We'll see.
What you said about the retention vote, do you get the sense sometimes that Democrats are perhaps too timid and they should be taking on more of these fights more often?
Yes. Democrats, our problem is we're disorganized and we don't have the messaging strategy of Republicans. They have talking points straight out of Fox News. They can tell everybody exactly every day what to say. We don't have that. Not even MSN is telling people what to say and what to. And our message is always going to be more complicated because theirs is simply tell lies and promote hate and fear. Well, we don't do that. So we have to come up with a way to unify our message better. So Republicans win on marketing and we don't. We need to get better on that for sure.
Those are effective messages, historically, unfortunately.
I know. It's fear tactics. It works for that's why they do it. They're going after your most basic brain. And, we've evolved since then. I tell this story sometimes. My daughter and I were driving down the highway the other day in the middle of the city. Well, Waterloo's a city. And there was a black object. And both she and I went, there's a black bear in the street. Our brain said that. There's a black bear in the street. It was a garbage bag. Of course it was a garbage bag. But our primal instinct is to say, I'm afraid, right? That's what keeps us alive. Well, they prey on that. They prey on that left and right, and it's not right. Fear mongering and telling people that people are having abortions up till birth and killing babies after they're born is not true. And they fear monger on it. And after I almost died at 38 weeks, and so did my son, it's insulting to joke around about it and fear monger on that stuff. It's not true.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's bad. Okay, that reminds me. So I've been interviewing various candidates the past couple weeks. I talked to somebody who was calling herself a moderate Democrat as well, which you did minutes ago. I talked to Roseanne Plant, who's running for Iowa House over in the northwest part of our state. And this relates to what we were just saying about abortion. She was saying that as a moderate Democrat, she does not believe that abortion should be used as birth control.
People do not use abortion as birth control. Here's why. It's expensive. It costs about $1,000 to get an abortion. Nobody's getting pregnant saying, oh, I just can't wait to have that abortion. It's bullshit. Nobody's using abortion as birth control.
Great. Well, I'm glad to hear that you disagree with the way that she,
1,000%.
she said that.
When people say that, I shake my head. I mean, clearly, when a condom costs $1 and you can get birth control pills over the counter now, nobody's using abortion as birth control. And here's my stand on abortion. It should be between a person and their doctor. End of story. I don't say even number of weeks. Here's why.
Sure.
That is only one indicator. And we have all fallen in love with that's the magic fix. It's not. So here's what I'll say. Okay, let's say it is 12 week. Okay. All right. How is the mother's health? Is there a risk to the mother that she might die because of this? Is there a fetal anomaly that makes the pregnancy incompatible with life? And when do you find that out? Oh, about 20 weeks. So if you find out at 20 weeks that you're the child you most wanted has a fetal anomaly making them incompatible with life, and you're not allowed an abortion in Iowa, right? I mean, I've had people say 15 years ago, they lost a baby at 6 months old, 6 months in the womb. Excuse me. She was not a live baby. She was still cooking, but unfortunately that baby passed. And they did a DNC and she went on, but then everybody said, how's your baby? Where's your baby? And she got depressed. So here's 2 facts for you. Iowa, worst in the country for maternal health. If you count the number of OBGYNs per capita, we are dead last. I believe we're even under Puerto Rico. As far as mental health goes, we are the worst in America. As far as the same metrics go, the number of mental health providers per capita, we are 52nd. So, and those things are related. People who can't access medical care. And believe me, this is when we chase away all our OBGYN physicians, who does that hurt? Everybody. Women who go through menopause need access to OBGYN care. It's not just about people having babies. And we are literally scaring them away because they don't want to lose their license. If someone comes in past 6 weeks pregnant, and here's the exceptions. If you're raped, you have to prove it was done within 45 days. If you're incest, it's 145 days, I believe. And if your life is at risk, it's just a gray area. So I said this. Okay, so the doctor is the one who hears this? Yeah. So then what? How do you know it was 45 days or not? How do you know? You don't know. You don't know. That's why these exceptions are bullshit.
Police reports or something, which is not. I mean, everyone I know who's
we already
gone through that process knows it's an awful. Yeah.
And rape is already underreported. Of course it is. Of course it is. And so is incest. I mean, this is just backwards times. So let's be clear on the incest part. Incest is, right? You may have had sex. Somebody had sex with you when you were a minor. That is a crime. That is rape. And this is the truth too. In the Iowa legislature, Democrats raised our hand and we said, hey, when you're passing the 6-week abortion ban, could you just give an exception to 12 and under? Please.
Right.
So think about that. If you're 12 and under, you were raped because you cannot consent to sex at 12 and under. And now you're pregnant. This pregnancy is a cause of a crime and you are not allowed to have abortion. So you will be forced to give birth. That is what Republicans said. That is what they picked. That is wrong. And we are going to end up on the right side of history on all of this.
Yeah, that's pretty grim stuff there.
So abortion is about power and control. And you know how I know? Because if it was about babies, we would feed them. Our governor wouldn't turn away $29 million in free food over the summer and call our kids fat if she loved children. She wouldn't. We saw in June the highest number of new people going into the food banks in Iowa. People that work 1 and 2 jobs and still couldn't get it paid. Well, corporate greed has the prices too high. Kimmy turned away $29 million in food. And then I think 900,000 she threw at it. And she put like food stations throughout Iowa where there wasn't even one per county. And think of this, when you go to the food banks, maybe you come from a different culture and you need different kinds of food because eating is more than just feeding. It's a part of our lives. So now you're just going to throw mac and cheese and apple in there and hope it works out. It's not thought out. This is a bad plan.
Well, speaking of corporate greed and food, am I remembering correctly that Hy-Vee closed a store in Waterloo, right?
And Cedar Rapids and in the Quad Cities, all in their poorest neighborhoods. In my opinion, Hy-Vee used the pandemic to run their profit numbers on all their locations, and they closed the 3 that made them the least amount of money. Now, when I was in Cedar Rapids at Hey Cap, they said one gentleman came into the food bank because he used to walk to that Hy-Vee, and that's where he got his groceries. and his toilet paper. And his number one concern is he doesn't have toilet paper anymore. Imagine how life is not good when that's your number 1 and 2 problem.
Yeah, seriously.
Thanks, Ivy. Thanks, Ivy. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. And up here, I hate it too. It became racist. The rumor in Waterloo was that they closed that store because it was being robbed all the time. It happens to be in a black neighborhood.
The other
that's
two
bullshit.
as well. Yeah.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Even in downtown Des Moines, they've been saying stuff that even the police department and city council says is unsubstantiated along the same lines.
Same as eating the cats and dogs, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well, and Hy-Vee also, they have pharmacies there, and there were people, I know at the Cedar Rapids location that got closed, there were people who relied on that location for, getting their medication, and now they have to try to get transportation somewhere else in the city.
Another problem, right, to throw on top of them. People that are already struggling to make ends meet may not have transportation, and now let's make it a little bit harder. That's wrong. We are all here. After my sister died, I realized the only thing should be here, is to help each other and make it better and make it easier and trust people. That seems pretty simple, doesn't it? And that's what people want. I've been out in 22 counties, and you know what people like? The truth. That's all I've been telling. The truth.
I want to ask you about this interview on this show called The Steele Report.
Yeah.
That Justin and I think we both watched parts of it, or you said you saw it from Dexter, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just curious about who this guy is, because he was asking you some interesting questions. I liked how you already mentioned you consider yourself a moderate Democrat, but I like how his first two options were: are you very liberal? Are you radical?
Right?
Do you get called radical a lot?
Oh, just by Ashley. Ashley Hinson's the only one who calls me radical.
Yeah, like a Ninja Turtle.
And she calls me also a rubber stamper. And how interesting is that? Since I've never had public office or taken
when
a
would you have done that?
Never. She's the rubber stamper. She's never voted against Trump or her party, but she just says lies, right? And then sometimes they stick. And that's why I'm prepping so hard, because I don't want to say things that are not true, because we need to be the truth tellers, and somebody needs to be the adult in the room, and that needs to be me.
Another thing you mentioned, it's really quick, is he said he was asking you about your father, who either is or was a Lutheran pastor. It wasn't clear which.
Yep.
And you said you were raised Christian, but now your religion is kindness, which I guess just reminded me we were saying about the joy theme earlier. Is that a message you use a lot? Is religion a big aspect of what's on voters' minds in the district at all?
I don't know. Ron asked that because Ron Steele is from my hometown of Hudson, and he went to the church. He went to the church where my dad was a minister. And so he one time even got up there and he pretended to be reading the news up at the front of the altar. Like he made a joke. And like he gave me a wedding present to my first marriage to a Republican. He brought a wedding present. I still have it. It was a set of knives. So Ron knows me. So he had interviewed Ashley like 3 times. And I was like, when's my turn? And he's like, you're not really newsworthy. I'm like, come on, it's my turn. And then he said this, well, good job pushing Biden out of the way. Like I personally did that. And then he said, fine, you can have your interview after the convention. And I walked in there like a kid in a candy store, because this is another truth. I went to Girls State and right out of high school. It's an introduction to politics, right? And I told them, I came to Girls State because I wanted to be a news broadcaster. But I left Girls State and I said, I want to make the news instead of reading the news. Mm-hmm. Right? So Ron knows me, and that's why he thought I was just some dumb little twit that was going to come in there and it'd be easy. And I just held my own. I held my own. And at one point he said, tell me about how you feel about all the people who are pro-Hamas. Mm-hmm. And I did that, and my husband, I go, Chris, there's no pro-Hamas. No, there's no pro-Hamas. Ron, you got that wrong. He didn't put that part in, but I did thought it was funny at the end when I said, I bet my opponent doesn't even know what the cost of milk is. He left that in there. $1.79 for a half gallon. It's about $3 for a gallon. Corn is at $4. Beans are at $10.
Yeah, these are those default stats that all Iowa politicians get drilled on.
Because one person missed it, and it about cost her the election.
Someone's going to ask you that Monday night. Mm-hmm. Be ready for that.
I will be ready.
All right. Well, thanks for indulging that question. I had to know. That was interesting.
Right?
You could tell there's something else going on there.
So he was kind of poking at you about getting Biden out of the race. Obviously, I doubt the Biden campaign cared that much that Sarah Corkery said that he should drop out. But I did find it to be it took some courage, and I appreciated that you and Christina Bohannon, made news for saying that, he should step aside. And I personally have a little respect and no love for Joe Biden. I don't think that you feel the same way. So why exactly did you think it would be, why did you decide that you should come out and say that he should drop out of the race?
And again, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but this is the truth. I believed it in my heart after the debate went so dismally. And I have a child with disability. Joe Biden has a stutter. I give him a pass every time when he speaks and he has trouble speaking. But that was not what was going on. He was having trouble comprehending. And we all saw it and we all went, oh, no. And then typical, the party said, just shut up about it. And I thought, that's not who we are. We don't blindly follow people like we see other people doing that, right? You know who I'm talking about? Trump?
Maybe Donald Trump. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I thought we should actually say this. And we do everything by the numbers. And we had not been in the news much. And Christina Bohannon came out and I got a call from KCCI. And they said, what do you think? I had 30 seconds to make the call. I thought if I say yes, I get on the same news cycle as Christina Bohannon and become Bohannon and Corkery said this. That'll be the headline. If I wait 30 seconds or more, I'll be the next day. So I called my numbers guy and I said, first of all, I believe this with my heart. Is the truth. I believe he will drop out. I believed he would put his country ahead of his own interests. I believed it. When people were like, I don't think so, I'm like 90% sure I just am. So that was true. First, I really believed it. Then I thought I could get in the press. And then I called my numbers guy and he said, independents will appreciate honesty. You might lose a few hardcore Democrats who love Joe Biden. And it's true. I had people on Facebook and Twitter call me. Now, I'm not on Twitter, on TikTok, a traitor. And they said, I'm not giving you money. I'm not coming to your events. And you know what I said? You didn't give me any money anyway.
Yeah, I figured they probably didn't in the first place.
No.
Right?
So, and then I would say this, and who was right? And who had the guts to say something that turned out to be right? Me. And it takes guts to be in this, and you got to make tough calls. And we made it. And I still stand by it.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I think you were vindicated on that for sure.
Right?
It's interesting that I figured that you and Christina may have discussed that beforehand.
No, I have not had one. No, I've not had one conversation with Christina Bohannon. She coordinated her campaign with Liz Mathis last time, and this time Christina Bohannon's message is, "I'm in it for myself. Good luck to the rest of you."
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. We have
not talked at all.
One very brief conversation with her, and she did not want me to record it. So.
Oh my God. People are so bunched up, right? You're not that popular, Christina Bohannon.
I'm deviating here, but you mentioned TikTok, so I have some notes here about Ashley Hinson and the committee she's on. She called it in a press release, the Bipartisan House Committee to Take on China. It's all actually the House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the Chinese Communist Party, if wherever I copied that from is accurate. But what do you think that the efforts to ban TikTok have been tied up in this kind of like Red Scare, CCP stuff that Ashley Hinson likes to go on about quite frequently? Thoughts on that?
She just loves to make everybody afraid, doesn't she? So this is the truth. When you talk to farmers and you say, what are some things you're worried about? None of them say we are worried that China is buying our land or that we're worried that the drones built in China are giving information away. None of them. You know what they're saying? We need our elected officials to break up the monopolies where we buy our feed and seed and chemicals because it's expensive, because it's rigged. So she's scaring us on this China stuff in the wrong area. It's not true what she says, and she just wants us to be afraid. And TikTok, sure. Are they getting our data? Sure. But so is Facebook, Twitter, all of them, Instagram. If you're going to go after one, go after all. They're just going after because it's owned by China. Did you see them interview at it was in Washington, D.C., and they interviewed the guy who came up with TikTok. It was clear that none of these people knew what they were talking about at all. That. Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing. So they make it seem like it's this evil villain thing. Like one said, well, why do you have to know where people's eyes are? Are you stealing our retina information? The guy goes, no, because when we put on those silly glasses, we got to just line it up by your eyes. It's making a mountain over a molehill because it's going to get in the press, and that's all they care. Keep us in the press and keep us powerful and rich. Well, we don't have to be afraid of the TikTok. And I would say this, if you get on there at TikTok and there's something gross, guess what? TikTok is a mirror. TikTok shows you what you want to see. So if I see puppies and kittens, sir, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm seeing
it's just
drug
silliness.
Trip demons.
Now, I do believe it will be banned on January 1st unless they break up the ownership of TikTok. And I tell you, young people are going to lose their stuff. They love it.
I was going to say, that wouldn't seem like a very popular issue for the youth vote to ban TikTok.
Oh, my God, no. It's so silly.
They did that thing like a few months ago where they gave a notification to all their users that was like, hey, your government's trying to ban this app. You should go yell at them. And it like gave them the contact info for their representatives.
And they should
just keep doing that. Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Should. Oh, yeah. And it will work. It will give kids actually something to fight for.
Yeah.
There's another thing I want to ask you about before I forget.
Yeah.
I finally found the right page in my notes here. So there's a silly little, maybe not silly is the right word, but a stupid attack I wrote here on the Iowa GOP's website where someone, I don't know, they did some like stealth interview of you or something, or there's a YouTube video that's just a black, like a blank video with the audio. And it's someone asking you about, I think if you support like illegal immigrants voting. And you said, that's a little lie you make up. You said you think it's BS or bullshit. I can't remember what you said. That you have to show your license to vote. So I guess they think this is some sort of gotcha. But it seemed like everything you said was just, factually, accurate.
So it was May 19th. It was my dad's birthday. I was in Grinnell, Iowa, and 3 Republicans showed up in the front row. And they were mean to me. And I took their questions for over a half hour. And then I said, and I took other questions. And then I said, I'm done. I'm going to dinner with my dad. And this guy goes, you never answered my questions about illegal immigrants and voting. And I said, sir, I've been here. You had your chance to ask these questions. And so I just said, voter fraud is not a thing. I know. I talked to Karen, and I've seen it. It's not rampant. Voter fraud is a talking point you use, and that's not based on reality. People show their IDs, vote. People who are not citizens are not allowed to vote. That's already illegal. And then I had said this. I said, one ways we can save Social Security is to get rid of the Social Security Medicare tax cap. So if you make over $174,000, that goes away. And I said, hey, one time I made over that and my paycheck went up, and I went, who cares? That's nice. And I say, I worry about people who can't pay their groceries. I'm not worried about someone who gets richer when they pass $174,000. And I also wonder why they picked that number. Could it be that's the exact number Ashley Hinson gets paid when she's elected to Congress?
Oh,
do you think they put their money in and they want to get all their money back out? Because if you take the cap off, what would happen is you would pay through the roof. If you're a millionaire or billionaire, you keep paying that tax. You're never getting it all back. That's the glitch. And I'm like, who cares? Life's not fair. Pay it. Pay it and make this solve it. Pay it. And so in that article, I saw one, I didn't see the video, but I saw the quote, and he said in there, she also said she's rich, which we have to assume she's a corporate elitist then. But that was what I was trying to explain. That's the only reason I brought up my salary was because I was trying to explain.
Corporate elitist.
Former. And the fact that I was just telling them how we could save Social Security. It had nothing else to do with anything, but they took it all out of context and they were scribbling on their pad and they had video. And I know exactly when that happened. And I've had trackers at almost every event. Ashley's trackers.
Oh, interesting.
So I just say, I don't have anything to hide. I said what I said and I stand by it. They twisted it up there and I'm so smart. I remembered. You know what my husband always says? Before you mess with somebody, especially a woman, you should say, are you a diligent note taker? I'm a diligent note taker.
Yeah.
They still have that chicken suit that they follow people around with. Wasn't that Ashley Hinson's campaign?
Probably.
Yeah. If you see somebody wearing a chicken suit, peeking around a corner.
Right. So I need to wrap it up because I'm here at the office and they just closed. So they probably want to get done with work. So I can, if you feel good, we got it. Otherwise we can jump on in like a half hour if you want to do any more.
I think we've probably got what we need here. Thank you for.
I think I gave you a lot of content.
Yeah, I really like the part where you said something mean about Christina Bohannon. That's going to be good. Well,
it's the truth.
if you have like 30 more seconds, like what is your if you are elected, what would be like your dream legislation that you would want to work on?
Election reform and term limits.
Okay.
I mean, that's because this is such a rigged system that all needs to be. And once you get in, then they don't ever let anybody out. Even Chuck Grassley. I mean, that guy's 90 something years old. So we just need to get it shouldn't all be decided by the same 10 people and same 2 families. There's a lot of people ready to get in there and fight. But obviously I had breast cancer. So the metastatic breast cancer bill that I wanted passed, that I would really champion, and disability needs. I'm a big champion around that. And we have a kid in the foster system. So there's a lot. And because we've dealt within these systems, we understand them better than most people. We could make them easier for people.
You don't think you get corrupted and drop the term limit pledge? That seems to be a pretty popular thing. I think Chuck Grassley's done that before, maybe.
And here's why. Someone asked me that. How do we know you're not going to go to DC and all of a sudden come like Ashley Hinson? I said
become a swamp creature. Yeah.
No, I said I've almost died twice. I've had cancer twice and almost died twice. Money's not my driver. Money's not a driver for me. That takes a lot of it out because I believe most politicians are there for power and money. Mm-hmm. But I'm not.
Yeah. You've seen the face of God and you know there's more to this existence.
100%. 100%. I always say this. Guess what? None of us get out of here alive. Shocker.
Yeah. It's easy to forget when you are alive and you've only seen one side of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Sarah, your website is Corkery for Congress. People can find more about your campaign.
Send me money. Send me money.
That's what I heard from Amy Nielsen the other day was, I need money. It's corkeryforcongress.com. And I'm sure that there's easy ways to contact you there as well if anybody feels like there's any questions we didn't fit into this interview. So
I love it. And my favorite could you send me a link or whatever to that video? I haven't seen that part of that would be great.
Yeah, I'll make sure to get that to you.
Okay. Awesome. I love talking to you guys. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, she's gone. All right. Cool.
That went pretty well.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of good stuff in there. Didn't get a chance to get into Israel, but
Yeah, I figured you were leaving that for toward the end.
Yeah, because it's going to make us uncomfortable, and she's going to say something I don't like.
Yeah.